The best day to plant a tree, that was yesterday. The second best day is today. Let's not focus on what they do wrong. Let's focus on the unmet needs.
And then you go back and you're like, you know what? I was operating from the place of ego. I shouldn't have taken that personally. Or this is how I could have responded, or I will respond if the same situation happens again.
Full behavior of people is never only what it seems. Those who hurt us, he says, are themselves in pain, because what you do not have, you cannot give. Do you have a cabrio? A cabrio, so a car without a roof. Do you have a cabrio?
No,
Can I borrow your cabrio?
no, because I don't have one.
Okay, you see what happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes we expect ourselves to be able to give something what we don't have.
Hello, everyone. Today I have with me Frederick Imbo. Frederick is a certified expert in neuro-linguistic programming, nonviolent communication, transpersonal coaching, and counseling. He's also a Dutch actor and has acted in more than 40 TV programs and several movies, including Disney films and the Flemish version of Harry Potter. Frederick is also a keynote speaker and has delivered Belgium's most watched TED Talk ever. Apart from all of this, he's also a football referee. All of these wonderful achievements, but what I found most amazing in his profile is why he became a football referee. And that's my opening question to him. So see you on the other side with Frederick Imbo. Enjoy yourselves. Thank you so much, Frederick, for joining me today. It's my pleasure to have you on my podcast.
With a lot of pleasure, Bhakti. Hello, everyone.
So, Frederick, why did you become a football referee? I was thrilled to read about it, so please tell our viewers as well.
There are two reasons. The first reason, I really like to do sports. The problem is that I'm not good in any sports, not good in football, not good in volleyball. So the only thing I can do is running fast. And I said I want to stay in good shape. So let me become a football referee. Then I can also witness good football and at the same time work on my physics. The second reason was because I struggle with not taking things personally. I easily do that, even if I teach people myself as a communication coach how not to take things personally. I noticed in myself that I easily take things personally. So I thought, well, maybe becoming a football referee is a perfect strategy, perfect environment to learn how not to take things personally.
I don't think anybody else would have done that before. I love the social experiment you did on yourself, Frederick. So, becoming a football referee, can you describe what happens when players and the audience don't agree with your decision and what's their reaction like? Did this experiment turn out to be successful?
Well, what happens if spectators, players, or coaches do not agree with my decisions? They yell and they are angry and they project their anger on me, and they think the referee is responsible for their anger. They really believe that it is my fault that I did not give them what they actually think they're entitled to. And so what happens with me is it's normal when someone lashes out at you that you feel like, ooh, overwhelmed. And the thing I learned is that when they shout at me, it has actually nothing to do with me. It has to do with their unfulfilled need. If they have a need to be right and to win the game, and they want to be acknowledged for their rightness, and they do not get what they want to get, then they will shout at me. But actually, it has nothing to do with me. It's their frustration. And sometimes they are right, sometimes they are wrong. Either way, it tells about their feelings and it tells everything about their unfulfilled needs.
Right. And, when a player, let's say, abuses or accuses you of being biased on the field in front of so many people, is there not even 1% of the Frederick within you saying, I want to give it back?
Of course. Of course, not even 1%. I would even say 60 or 70%. It's a normal way. We are biologically programmed to listen and to obey, to our autonomous nerve system. Our autonomous nerve system controls our emotion, or would even say regulates our emotions. When we feel like we are right now, Bhakti, you and me, we feel at ease, we feel understood, we feel secure, we feel it's safe here, then
Yeah.
we will not have emotional reactions right now, right here, because it's safe. From the moment someone lashes out at us, it's an uncontrollable reaction to feel like, ooh, security is gone. And in order to survive, there are only three possible ways. Or we will fight back and say, hey, what's your problem? Fight back with words normally, or say, ah. In my case, I'm more a fighter and I want to say, hey, calm down. Well, actually, I can even not control that first impulse. I can, before that first impulse happens, program myself that if this will happen, then I will not react like this. I will react like this, and I will react in a calm way. And I will say, shh, okay, now this is happening. He's shouting at me. I know, I know. He does it because he feels threatened. He feels not equally valued. He's angry. He wants to project his anger at me. I should not react now as I'm feeling it. Calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. And in most cases, it works. If I, let's do an experiment. If I do not warn you and I just give you a remark on your piercing in your nose, you will feel like, whoa, what is he saying? It's not nice. When I warn you and I say you, Bhakti, pay attention, I will say something really condescending on your piercing.
Mm.
Warn, pay attention. Then you're kind of prepared to see what is coming.
Yeah.
And now you can decide if Frederick will give that remark, I can manage it. And this is how it works. So that's also the reason I'm a communication coach, that I teach people if they need to give a bad message, they should warn the other person. Bhakti, I'm really sorry, but I have some bad news for you. Please stay calm. I just have bad news for you. Whatever I say now, you all prepared, well, your autonomous nerve system has been prepared to be able to take that bad message in because you know, kind of know it. If I scare you, you will be scared. If I
Mm.
tell you, pay attention, I will scare you,
Yeah. My reaction
you will
will be,
not be
let's,
scared.
yeah.
It's different because you know I will be scared. It's something like that.
Yeah. But then, in that very moment, it is probably not as realistic to expect a player to come and tell you, oh, look, this is what I'm going to tell you, but don't feel bad.
Of
You
course
know?
not. Of course not. And so it's wonderful what you're saying. If that was possible, people would not kill each other and people would not harm each other so much.
Yeah.
So instead of expecting the other one to take into account your feelings and your possible emotional reaction, you can prepare yourself as well. Of course, that would not be possible, I think, for to do that 24/24 per day. But that's possible to do it 1.5 an hour per match. Or between every two decisions, I can tell, okay, Frederick, stay calm. Sometimes I literally talk to myself in my head while I'm doing refereeing. I'm saying, okay, was 1-0 in the scores, suddenly becomes 1-1, and only 10 minutes to play. Then I literally talk to myself, Frederick, pay attention. Now they will become more aggressive, they will become more emotional. Stay calm. See it as a game. To the extent that I'm able to talk to myself, to that same extent, the possibility and the likelihood that I will stay calm is much higher. From the moment I forget to talk to myself, to be aware of the possible things that can happen, I'm lost. Because that's normal. Then I fall back on my initial biologically programmed amygdala or my nerve system that has no control, that I do not have control over it.
Right. So you're mentally preparing yourself to expect the worst when you actually go in as a referee.
Exactly.
And, and egos are at play over here as well, isn't it?
I like that so much. I like so much talking about the ego because, again, here, our ego is a part. Ego is not bad or good. I used to give it a bad name only when I talk about ego, and I would define it as the personality within yourself that believes that it should always have control, it should always be strong, and therefore, in order to protect itself, believes that the other people are responsible for what you're feeling. Even worse, you should take into account what I want. If I want you not to interrupt me, if I think she's not entitled to interrupt me, and you interrupt me, my ego will say, hey, 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 come on, you spoiled the moment. If, on the contrary, I believe that although it's not nice to be interrupted, sometimes just people interrupt you, and that's okay because it's okay to sometimes not have control over the situation. Because if it happens, you interrupt me, I can accept it, I can wait, I can listen to you, and then I can calmly say, okay, could I now finish my sentence? Because I take full responsibility over my feelings and over what I need. And from the moment I take responsibility over it, there are two things: there's good news and bad news. The bad news is it's way harder because if you have to take responsibility over yourself, it's more hard than to say you are responsible for my needs. The good news is that if I manage to do so, I'm no longer dependent of you. I'm independent. I feel like, okay, whatever she does or say, it's okay. I can manage it. I have to come
Yeah.
up for my own needs.
Yeah, and ego is also like a defense mechanism, isn't it? When your amygdala is hijacked, our ego comes right out to defend us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's the reason ego is not necessarily bad.
Mm.
It is just, and it reminds me of the words of Marshall Rosenberg, the one I met in the United States where I followed nonviolent communication. He's the inventor of the idea of nonviolent communication. And he says, when we are in our ego, when we lash out, when we judge, when we feel offended, and we express us in a certain way, it is just a tragic expression of unmet needs. It's just a language problem. Instead of saying, ah, it's your fault, you're messing up every conversation, I'm lashing out. A more happy way, a more connective way to express myself would be, Bhakti, I'm losing my train of thoughts if you interrupt me. I really would like to have clarity and structure in my thoughts. Can I first finish my sentence, and can you only then say what you wanted to say?
Yeah.
It's
And
actually the two are living inside of me. The one part originates out of myself where I believe you should not interrupt me. The other part comes up in me when I believe, okay, she has no bad intention with me. She just wants to talk to me, and I'm responsible for meeting my needs myself. No problem. I can manage it.
yeah, and you mentioned nonviolent communication there. Can you tell us a bit more about it?
Non violent means there is no violence in our communication. Violence is what we all sometimes believe that the other person should get in order to be punished because he has done something wrong. When you don't call me, when you interrupt me, when you say unpleasant things to me, when you do not do what I want you to do, my ego part believes, aha, she should be punished for it. Because She did something that I did not like, was against me. Now I should do something against her because we need balance again. In order to reshape that balance again, I should punish you because you harmed me, you hurted me, I should hurt you back in return. Well, actually, when I punish you, and you do not know that I punish you because you did something unpleasant for me, you do not understand. So you will punish me back because you think you started the first. And so it becomes and it's come that endlessly battle between you and me, between the two of us egos. When I see, on the other hand, that what you do is only a way to try to satisfy some needs of you, and I do not take it personally, I can react in a non-violent way. So in a way where express myself in such a way that I increase the likelihood that that you understand me. And also I increase the likelihood that I want to understand you. Maybe I have no inspiration now. Can you invent a judgment that you were given yourself of someone, or that you have already given someone else, so that you have received or given, or that you have
Um,
heard from someone?
I think one of the common things that I've heard is he or she constantly nags. They can never see the good in me.
Okay.
Just a remark.
Okay, that's such a wonderful example. It hurts, right, when someone tells this, because you do not feel understood, especially when the other one comments you, she always nags and she never
Mhm.
see the good in me. Well, actually, you feel like, come on, but there is a reason why I always nag. There
Yeah,
is a reason. Okay.
yeah.
In both ways, we can translate these two quotes or ways of thinking of the two characters. The one
Mhm.
who lashes out and says, she always nags and she never see the good in me.
Mm.
That's violent communication. Not violent would be, I really feel distressed. I feel discouraged because I really would like to hear what you do appreciate in me. I really do so hard my best, and it seems that you do not have an eye for that. If the one here would have said this instead of, yeah, you always nag and you never see the good in me, the other one would have not feel offended. If the other one feels offended because the first one says, yeah, you never see the good in me, you always nag, he could have translated into, hmm, well, the other person maybe feels discouraged and now wants me to know that they are really tired of it and they want to show their anger and project their anger on me because they feel that I'm responsible for this. This does not necessarily mean that this problem has disappeared. Maybe that person still has the same comments.
Yeah.
If they are able to see the other person's unmet needs, they
Hmm.
will listen in this case, or express themselves in this case, themselves in a complete other way.
And I love the way that you rephrased it, because the energy as well is so much more positive, right? When the other person says that I'm doing my best, I'm so discouraged that you're telling me this. And I think it just sends positive energy as well, right? And it doesn't kind of, the game of blaming or
No.
throwing accusations doesn't continue. It stops with that person.
Yes, and the clue is in, or the crux is in the needs part. So
Yeah.
when I tell what is wrong with you will defend yourself. If I tell and express what I need, you will maybe recognize that need in yourself as well.
When you don't take things personally and instead you're empathetic, or you try to rephrase it and put it in the way that you just said, you even radiate vibrations of peace and building a good relationship, right, at the end of the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it helps increasing the harmony between you and me. Even when the other one does not want any connection with me,
Yeah.
I will create a climate in which connection is more likely to happen than when I would have used judgmental or reproaching words. No.
Right. So Frederick, what I'm understanding is that how to not take things personally. You are basically empathetic. You mentally prepare yourself in advance to receive the worst so that you don't really give back at the spot. Is there anything else that you do to not take things personally?
Of course, because sometimes that will not work. Even when I know that you only lash out because you do not agree with my decisions, even when I know it mentally, it can happen that I still feel, it's not nice, that I still take it personally. So when in the first place, it does not tell something about me, well, if that doesn't work, it means that it does tell something about me. Then I should focus on my weak spot in myself. I should focus on, I know this pain before. It's not the first time in my life that I feel sad, discouraged, or despondent about this. Chances are big that I will recognize something in the other person's behavior as behavior that I have already encountered several times in my life. For example, my weak spot is, and everyone has their weak spot, and it's a nice idea maybe for the viewers here to think about what are their unmet needs that always come back, always reoccur, always the same. And in my case, I have very big need for wanting to be seen in my good intentions. And so
Okay.
when sometimes a player lashes out on the pitch, even if I know that it has nothing to do about me, I still feel sad because, again, here, my child part in myself says, I mean it so well. Huh, why don't you see it? And so when I see that this is my theme, this is my problem, and no one else should fix it for me. So again, when I take full responsibility over it, I can just be sad with myself and say, yeah, I know. I know, Frederick, I know. This has been a struggle for your entire life. And again, it happens. Yeah, I know. It's because once in your life, when you were a child, you were not seen enough for your good intentions. Yeah. So I kind of talk to myself or give myself some sorrow and some pity to be, I can wail for a moment in my self pittiness without feeling a victim. Like the trick is taking responsibility for it and just say, even communicate it. Not on the pitch, of course. That's not the place to do it. But imagine we are friends,
Yeah.
and you give me. Let's take the example of you. Well, you always nag, and you never see my good intention. I could say, Bhakti, when you give me some negative feedback on what I'm doing, I feel sad. And to be honest, it has nothing to do with you. It's my problem. It's just that I'm very, very, very sensitive on receiving negative feedback because I have I've I've got so many times negative feedback and I did not feel appreciated and I had not the idea that my positive intention was seen and I need so much confirmation. Then I'm still talking about what I need and I do not say what is wrong with you. And so it's more easy for you to hear a person saying what he or she misses than a person saying what is wrong with you. You never take me into account. You always are negative. You never appreciate me. You will defend yourself if I tell this. While if I'm saying it's not your fault, it's no one's fault. It's just the fact that I have struggled so many times with this theme and I'm still missing it. I'm desperately hoping to one day get the full doses of understanding and acknowledgement for what I'm doing. And it's just sensitive because up till now, I have not been able to fill that gap. I want to ask you, don't you feel much more connection and empathy coming up from you to me when I express myself in this manner?
For sure, no. Like, especially when you express yourself in the manner that you just did, I instantly feel like I should have probably been a lot more better empathetic in telling
Mm.
you. I think where I want to kind of draw in is, what if your ego at that point of time takes over. Bigger the ego, the more you'll take things personally. But sometimes I believe
Absolutely.
we
Oh,
also
yeah.
confuse ego with respect, isn't it?
Yeah. The ego wants to be respected. The ego shows no respect for the other person, but in return demands respect. And it's very, very, very likely that in 90% of the cases, I will be in my ego and I do not get what I want. And so the more I train myself in instead of choosing for my ego, which is a natural, unconscious choice, the faster I program myself to shift to my more developed and conscious me, the likelihood of express myself in a self-empathic and at the same time self-responsible way will increase. And we need to train this over and over again. And the best day to plant a tree, that was yesterday. The second best day is today.
Yeah, for sure. And that awareness is really key that you mentioned, because there's a very thin line between ego and respect. And ego is like I'm operating from the consciousness of the role, status, position, age. Like let's say if I'm a wife or a husband or a owner or a CEO, I'm rich or I'm the prime minister, or I'm older and you're just a kid. So operating from this consciousness is ego, and that is when I'll tend to take things more personally, right?
Exactly. Exactly because my ego thinks no one should do something that caused me this problem. Let's not focus on what they do wrong. Let's focus on the unmet needs. And this is also something special in these times.
Hmm.
We seem to always want to have what we want. And if we do not get what we want, someone needs to pay for it. Well, actually, just saying, I struggle with the fact that I did not get what I really wanted. And that's okay. Sometimes I do not get what I want.
On the spot, it might be very difficult to actually have the awareness that you're talking about. But then what you're saying is that even if you reflect after the entire situation, and then you go back and you're like, you know what, I was operating from the place of ego. I shouldn't have taken that personally, or this is how I could have responded, or I will respond if the same situation happens again. So it's basically the reflection, I think, is the key as well. And then it'll come to a point where you'll mentally be prepared for any scenario, and then you will respond the way you would love to respond without any regrets.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And even when we were talking about ego, I was thinking about this, that we don't really resent any small kids when they tell us something. We don't take their comments personally. It's only with grown-ups that everything really comes up.
Exactly. When you have a child and the child is 4 years old and needs to go to bed, you say, now it's really time you should go to bed. And they throw themselves on the floor, they kick and they scream, I hate you. You will never think, oh, do they really hate me? You will see their you will see their positive intention. You will even look at your partner and say, they're having it again that moment. And you will laugh with it. You will, like the Buddha, smiling at it in a very accepting way. Yeah.
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 And you are responsible for your thoughts and feelings, right? Like let's say if I go shopping and the lady at the billing counter is very rude, so some people might even question that, isn't she responsible for my thoughts and feelings? She just hurt me, right? So what is your take on that?
I love, we can never prove it because, yeah, it's no science, but we can just believe it and
Hmm.
learn from it. The lady behind the counter is responsible for what she does. She's fully responsible for her actions. Although rude she might be, she's not responsible for what we are feeling. Because some will look at it and think in an empathetic way, oh God, she might have a very bad day, and okay, let's be mild. That person thought and felt something completely different than someone who thinks, well, I'm a customer. I should always be in the middle of the attention. And so I have even the right to feel offended. And so they are responsible for what they feel and not the lady behind the counter. And so if you're responsible for your feelings, you're also responsible for meeting your own needs. We can never judge an action of someone. If I no longer go to that shop, it does not necessarily mean I do it out of my ego. When I do it because I think, well, I hope that if I no longer come back, they will be bankrupt, then it's my ego talking. When
Right.
I say, whoa, in my free time as a customer, I really want to be in a safe place where people are being kind and dealing with me in a very harmonious way, I no longer go to that shop. That's not my ego. That's just my mature self taking actions. And even more mature would be, okay, I have many other reasons why I would like to go to that shop. Okay, they're not friendly, or at least she was at that moment not friendly. That's okay. I can manage it. I do not always have to get what I want to get.
Right.
And I do not have the proper English translation of it. But Alain de Botton, the one of the School of Life, says that hateful behavior of people is never only what it seems. Those who hurt us, he says, are themselves in pain. And the appropriate response is hence never cynicism nor aggression, but at the rare moments one can manage it, always love.
Love that.
So imagine that we could, to that lady behind the counter, say,
Yeah.
or just smile, and with the intention of giving her in the most secure and so in the least threatening way, giving her that sympathy, that love, that companionship, that pat on her shoulder that we are not responsible for, but at least we can help her a bit with that. Imagine what would happen without, of course, expecting that if we do that, she will give a better reaction. Because if we do that, again, we are in the ego part.
Yeah, and you've touched such a spiritual chord there, Frederick, because other person who is operating from a place of anger at that point in time, for example, I can only show them compassion and not bring them further down or not push them further down.
It's a pity it's an interview. I cannot show you anything, but in one of my, I have a lot of keynote speeches I give to enterprises, companies, and one of the things I'm explaining right now, I have a full presentation and a training of connective communication. And in connective communication, we teach actually people to do two things. One, to give the other person empathy, to show the other person empathy, and to express ourselves in a connective way. So to speak up honestly. What you're mentioning here right now, that if the other person is at his lowest point, in an anger point, they are absolutely not able to express themselves in a connective way.
Yeah.
So what I'm in that presentation explaining is I compare ourselves with a car driving on a road with 4 lanes. If you have the 4 lanes available, it means you're okay, you feel safe, you feel connected, all of your needs has been fulfilled, are fulfilled. So in that case, you can expect of yourself to be there for other people, to give and to show them empathy. If, on the other hand, you only have 3 lanes, so not all of your needs are fulfilled, sometimes we are just not able to show the other person empathy. Hopefully, our second best version then is to express ourselves in a connective way. Sometimes we don't have 4 lanes, sometimes we don't have 3 lanes, we only have 2 lanes.
Hmm.
We are not able to show the other person empathy. We are not able to express ourselves in a connective way. With 2 lanes, my best version then is to give myself some empathy and tell myself, oh God, this is not nice. What is going on with me? I don't get what I want, and I struggle with accepting that I do not get what I want. Okay, what do I think? What do I feel? What do I need right now? 2 lanes. If 4 lanes are not available, 3 lanes are not available, 2 lanes are not available, so it means I cannot show myself and give myself some empathy. then I only have one lane available. Question: what would you do when you would only have one lane available and you are not able to show yourself some empathy, Bhakti?
Oh my God, that's a difficult question, Frederick. I mean, if all those options are struck out, if I'm not able to show myself empathy, the other person empathy, or even talk in a connected manner, I would just probably lash out, right?
Yeah,
That's the worst case scenario where I will give back without even thinking anything, and later I might regret it.
that's a very plausible
Uh,
option.
Is that a zero
But
option?
maybe I would say that that is what we can understand people do when they
Yeah.
have zero lanes. But
Okay.
let me help you. I will help you to find the right answer.
Okay.
Self empathy is like washing yourself. Imagine you have broken your two arms and they are in, how do you call it in English? In a plaster,
Yeah.
and you're not able to wash yourselves. Do you suddenly no longer need to be washed?
I take help.
You will ask someone to take care. So, if you're not able to give yourself some empathy, what will you do?
I'll seek help. I'll definitely be talking to someone like a mentor, a coach, somebody who's
Exactly.
removed from the situation.
Exactly. Someone who's not involved in the situation. And you would say, whew, Claudia, can I talk to you? I had a conversation with Frederick. He was lashing out at me and I felt so much pain. Can I just ask you to listen to me and to give me some empathy? The more clear you ask the other person, can you just listen to me? Not give me unsolicited advice, and can you just give me some empathy? Are you able to do that? The higher the chances that the other person will give you empathy. And I create a lane extra for me in which I have two lanes in which I'm able to give myself empathy again. When I have two lanes, suddenly I have three lanes to speak up again to the person involved, to say, Frederick, what you said there to me was not very nice, and I was really sad hearing your words. And maybe when you have been able to express yourself in honest way, you have suddenly again four lanes to give me empathy when I react in a manner like, really? Huh? I didn't mean it like that. And to me, that's a crucial insight that when we can be talking about consciousness, and our consciousness can compensate a lot of what happens in the hostile, difficult world outside, but it will
Yeah.
never be 100% successful. So we have to be mild and realistic towards ourselves and in our expectations, and know that sometimes we will have bad days, and to just ask ourselves, how many lanes do I have right now? Oh, or looking hindsight, oh, yeah, I was slashing out. I know I had no access to express myself in a vulnerable way. I was just slashing out in order to protect myself. I should not reproach myself for that. I should just say, okay, yeah, it was my best option. Because what you do not have, you cannot give. Do you have a cabrio? A cabrio, so a car without a roof. Do you have a cabrio?
No.
Can I borrow your cabrio?
No, because I don't have one.
Okay, you see what happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes we expect ourselves to be able to give something what we don't have. It's as
I
stupid as this example.
yeah. I
Don't
love
expect
what you said.
yourself. Yeah,
I totally love what you said that you cannot give what you don't have. Like you need to have a full cup in order to even pour some of it to somebody else.
exactly. 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 And so if we were more mild towards ourselves and also mild towards other people, we expect now the other person to give us empathy. Wait. Are they genuinely able? Are they at that conscious level? Are they in their autonomous nerve system in a connective state? They are not. They feel threatened. So they want to punish us. Okay, they're not able. However sad it might be, however I really would like it to be different, I cannot expect it because the other one is simply not able to do it.
Right. And basically, I need to be love in order to give love. I need to be kind in order to be kind.
Absolutely. 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 Absolutely.
And I love the example that you gave of the four lanes, because if you think about it, unfortunately today, I think most of us are in the zero lane, not unknowingly, and we later realize, oh my god, I should have been at least in the first, second, or third lane, with the fourth being the highest goal.
Yeah.
And who you seek advice from in order to get, if you're in that first lane, is also very important, right? Because then what if you go to someone who they themselves are in the zero lane?
It's so funny that you say it in the presentations I'm giving. I finished the whole explanation by saying, maybe if you all know now this mutual language before you go to somebody else, maybe start by asking, how many lanes do you have? Because if the other one says zero lanes, then he or she is not the right person to give you that empathy you're seeking for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. No, that makes
Yeah.
sense. And would you like to share that presentation here, Frederick? If you want to share a slide or so, feel free to share your screen.
We have so many things on YouTube. We have so many things on our website, www.imboorling.be, imboorling.be. They can find so many things. But to me, it's so important just to share, just like you, or you just want to share here this with your viewers out of too much of love, and so I don't expect anything in return. So it's just out of the joy of sharing.
No, thanks so much, Frederick. That was lovely. I think what you just said, it's for all of us to reflect that, are we on the zero lane, one, two, three, with the fourth being the goal on an everyday basis, and also to mentally prepare yourself for any situation as well, right?
Yeah, and Bhakti, I really would like to thank you as well for your very attentive listening, for your very nice prepared questions, and mostly for the past, I don't believe weeks, I don't believe months, but I believe years in investment in self development for yourself, because you can really see, however, you are way younger than I am, what a wonderful path you have already done to be at that state in which you are very conscious about what happens inside yourselves, and you're vibrating on a level that I really think a lot of people are vibrating with you in harmony with. So I really felt this, and I want to give you this compliment back.
Thanks so much, Frederick. That means a lot coming from you. I can't thank you enough for being on my podcast, for touching on a topic that each one of us don't only face in a day, but many times a day. And I'm sure that as much as I have taken back so much from our conversation, and I'm going to keep the four lane thing with me now, and I'm going to try and practice that, but I'm sure our viewers as well will get a lot out of this conversation, because not taking things personally can really help improve our relationship with ourselves, but also with others as well, just to make life a little bit more beautiful than what it already is.
That would be awesome.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Frederick, for joining me today.
Thank you, Bhakti, and everyone. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Well, this turned out to be more of a mentoring conversation with Frederick. I absolutely loved the four lane approach that I'm implementing straight away to not take things personally. So the next time I'm faced with a situation, after the fact, I'm going to indulge in some four lane self reflection and ask myself, which lane was I operating from? And then I'll implement Frederick's input to reach the fourth lane until that becomes my default lane. I'm really looking forward to experimenting this to not take things personally, and I hope you are too. So stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for many such interesting conversations coming your way. Until next time.